The heat of the Rift Valley pressed down like fire.
A mother carried life in her arms, fragile yet unbroken.
Stone was their only weapon and their only hope.
Even the weakest carried the wisdom of survival.
The water had vanished, but thirst remained.
The land gave nothing back.
Hunger spoke loudest through the children.
He pointed the way, though the land promised nothing.
Death was a signal. Where vultures flew, food waited.
They followed the smell of death to stay alive.
Night hunters had feasted, but scraps remained.
From bone, marrow flowed, thick and rich.
For a moment, hunger loosened its grip.
But the land never gave without taking.
The lioness came to claim what was hers.
Stone met flesh, but fear remained.
They had only their voices and their rage.
Every meal had its price in blood.
They fought with fury, and the beast withdrew.
Victory was survival, not without sacrifice.
Night was not safety. It was waiting for dawn.
The earth's medicine slowed death, never erased it.
Against fear, the heartbeat of a mother was shelter.
Rain was life, but rain was also destruction.
They moved because stillness meant death.
The storm swallowed the land, leaving no path but forward.
Every step was a battle against Earth itself.
The old leaned on wood, while the young carried them.
Exhaustion pressed down, but stopping meant surrender.
From mud came food, bitter but alive.
Survival never asked for sweetness.
The sky's scavengers pointed again to death's leftovers.
They risked talons and beaks for scraps of meat.
Every bite kept the next heartbeat alive.
Unity was their weapon, hunger their chain.
But others smelled the feast too.
Stone struck stone, fire's secret waiting to be born.
Fire pushed predators back now, the first true shield.
Hope flickered in fragile breaths. For the young, warmth was magic.
Fire could not be carried far, but its memory burned within them.
Every edge made survival sharper.
The river was both promise and threat.
They shaped the earth's gifts into passage.
One mistake, and the river would claim life.
Every current pulled at them like hands of death.
Courage was tested with every stumble.
Together, they fought the water's grip.
On the other shore, survival was victory.
Hope was not in strength, but in sharing.
The land was endless, but their footprints wrote survival.
Every small life was guard like fire.
Thirst pressed harder than hunger.
The sky itself warned of death.
Where water hid, they clawed at the earth.
The weakest drank first, for tomorrow's strength.
They carried tools, but more than that, they carried memory.
Fear was their compass.
Predators walked the same path of survival.
They built walls not from stone, but from courage.
Stone became their voice, defiance their shield.
This time, the wild stepped back.
Victory was fragile as their bones.
Every token carried a story of endurance.
Each sunset was a question. Lagat, would they see another?
Even the smallest hands learned the oldest lessons.
Fire remained their most fragile miracle.
In firelight, fear became story, and story became strength.
Wisdom passed not with words, but with signs.
Even shelter carried its shadows.
The land itself shifted from death to life.
Hunger sharpened instinct into strategy.
Tools gave their hands new power.
Death fed life, the eternal trade.
What they shared was more than food, Trumpus. It was tomorrow.
They were fragile shapes in a vast world. Yet they endured.
The old carried memory, the young carried them.
Every step carved sacrifice into flesh.
Smoke could mean fire, or others.
Curiosity wrestled with fear.
They were not alone in the struggle.
Every gaze was a question of friend or foe.
Fear often threw the first strike.
The smallest lives were always the greatest stakes.
Conflict was as old as hunger.
The price of survival was written in red.
They learned to protect, not only to fight.
Victory was not conquest, but survival.
Wounds reminded them of their frailty.
Knowledge was the thread between death and life.
The fire carried stories beyond words.
In play, the future practiced survival.
Love was their quietest weapon.
Each morning was both an ending and a beginning.
Abundance was rare, but when found, it healed.
Sweetness was a gift that spoke of life.
For a moment, the struggle paused. For a moment, the struggle paused.
The future always ate first.
Unity was their only true weapon.
They walked on, fragile yet unbroken, Lena, the first steps toward humanity.